Previously on Oops All Bards. The combined Independence Day and commencement ceremony at the Shalimere University of Magical and Martial Arts, aka Majin Martial, gets off to a strong start with a triumphant dance performance by Belle Cernamiel of the prominent Cernamiel family. Unfortunately, things are mostly downhill from there. As Andric Harrowhold, Marshal of Urvara'a Hall, begins to read from the Roll of Remembrance, a sudden thundercrack interrupts the proceedings, immediately followed by what can only be described as an act of terrorism. An enormous energy dome descends on most of Memorial Stadium, entrapping the majority of Majin Martial's faculty, students, graduating class, and the grad's friends and family. Additionally, 4 cloaked figures emerge and cast a spell on those outside of the dome, freezing them in place as the giant projected image of the former dictator Phineas Malveaux appears in the sky. Malveaux, thought to be dead for the last 30 years, demands the immediate surrender of Urvara'a's triarchs, thus paving the way for his return to power. After Malveaux's image fades, the hooded figures release those they have been magically holding in place on the dais, but the dome remains in place. A skirmish ensues involving members of Majin Martial's faculty, Acting Secretary of War Gideon Stormcaller, Triarch Thistleodora, and 5 would-be Majin Martial grads, all from the Bardic arts. Pooched and Ruckus, Clarice Sourcloud, Kelonian Stumps, and the aforementioned Belle Cernamiel and Andric Harrowhold. The fight ends in what can only be described as a draw, with 3 of the hooded figures retreating with a warning that Malveaux expects complete surrender by midnight tomorrow. And now one question remains. Will a reduced group of academics and politicians, accompanied by 5 bards, be able to save our country?
You wanted monsters all slain by their betters, but you ain't seen nothing like arts and letters. Look who has answered the cry of distress. Oops, it's all bards. Oh, what a mess. You think we're a joke, but in truth we're all id. We fight like we learned it in books, 'cause we did. We all survived college with charisma impressive. Oops, it's all bards, and yes, it's excessive. If you're still confused, we'll explain to you thus. There's nobody left, so that's why they called us. We'll fight or we'll otherwise roll for successes. Oops, it's all bards. We hope that addresses all that you have to know to enjoy listening to our all-bard party sent off on a mission. How'll it go?
Well, we're sure you can guess.
Oops, it's all bards. Oh, what a mess.
Andric Harrowhold, Urvara'a Hall.
Belle Cernamiel, Flatley Hall.
Kelonian Stumps, Saluver College.
Clarice Sourcloud, Talmadge Hall.
Ruckus, Dogfuck, Go, Bananas.
Hello and welcome to Oops All Bards, the actual play D&D podcast that does what it says on the box. I'm your host and game master, Jillian Ashley Blair Ivy, but if you call me Jillian, I will assume that I've done something to upset you. With me are our bards. Bards, please introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Chris Kladecki. I use he, him, his pronouns, and I'm playing Pooched and Ruckus, a dogfolk graduating from College of Sticks and Stones.
Hi, I'm Anne Coleman. I use she, her pronouns, and I play Clarice Sourcloud, who's graduating from Talmadge Hall, and she's like a halfling bard.
Hi, my name is Ashley Banks. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm playing Belle Cernamiel from Flatley Hall, an Aasimar bard.
Hi, I'm Ross Curry, he, him. I play Andric Harrowhold, also he, him. A reskin of a College of Tragedy bard from Urvara'a Hall.
Hey, this is Bob Killian. I am playing Kelonian Stumps, a turtle bard, folk musician, and graduate of Saluver College, where I studied medicine.
Thank you, everyone. We're also joined by Nate Runkle, simultaneously the quietest and loudest member of this podcast. Where we last left off, it was commencement day at Majin Martial. Some of our bards, Andric, Belle, and Ruckus, were actually attending graduation, and the other 2 of you, which would be Clarice and Kelonian, had decided for different reasons to opt out. Belle performed a stirring interpretive dance to kick off the festivities, which also marked the 30th anniversary of Urvara'a's liberation from the autocrat Phineas Malveaux. Ruckus chased a butterfly friend under the dais, and Andric was just starting to read from the Roll of Remembrance when disaster struck. An energy dome covered most of the stadium except for the area where Belle, Andric, and Ruckus were, along with a few members of the faculty and some VIPs from the country's government. All of you but Ruckus, who the baddies didn't notice because he was under the stage with his butterfly friend, were frozen in place as a hologram-like image of Malveaux was projected into the sky. And Malveaux basically told all of you that he's back, and he expects the country's leadership to surrender so he can reclaim his position, and then he disappears. And after that, all of you who are on the dais who were frozen are unfrozen, and the hooded mages who seem to have cast that spell that was holding you in place attempt to leave, except that the assorted DMPCs on stage, and then Andric, Belle, and Ruckus, although I guess Ruckus to a lesser extent, tried to stop them to, at the very least, get more information. Clarice and Kilonian, the two of you detected something was wrong from outside of the stadium and joined the fray. I guess Clarice joined the fray. Kilonian did Kilonian's thing and tried to make sure nobody got too hurt. And all of you fight the bad guys. Clarice, in an amazing moment, managed to enthrall one of the baddies with a monologue about sand, and at the same time also managed to learn a lot about the energy dome. One of the baddies accidentally put another one of the baddies to sleep while aiming for either Belle or Andric with the sleep spell, and essentially gave you a hostage. And then after a few more rounds of fighting and some other stuff happening, including this weird devil baby that came flying in from the sky, the baddies left, but not before reminding you that Malveaux expects surrender by midnight tomorrow. The five of you, along with several of your professors, the acting Secretary of War Gideon Stormcaller, and Triarch Isilodora, are now more or less alone, if you don't account for the hundreds or, maybe thousands of people who are trapped in the energy dome. And that's where we're going to pick up. As the action begins, Bards, what's going on? How are you feeling? What are you thinking?
Clarice is feeling amazing because she was able to use her ability to enthrall people with really dumb philosophy. And her uncle, not actually by birth, but, familial uncle Gideon, got to see her do something boss.
Why, a great morning. I jumped on a human, and then I made friends with an oligarch butterfly, and I think we're still in the span of the charm spell, so it's just tucked away in my little hat, riding along with me.
Did you say an oligarch butterfly?
Oh, yes, I did.
Yeah, so how else is everybody feeling?
Andric still has his foot on the back of this satyr that has been bound, and is taking in the scene, feeling a bit miffed, not only at is the dome still up?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Really just trying to take a moment to process everything that's around. Has Clarice communicated what she found out from the Identify spell?
Yes.
Given the way the combat went down, at least Andric's read on it is that these kind of they were strong enough to cast Hold Person at the stage. Given what she has relayed about the dome, though, doesn't think these hijinks were the ones who cast the dome. And so he's looking around to see if there are other mages around who might have done the dome.
Well, I will tell you, it's a concentration spell, so it wasn't them. They cast Hold Person just long enough.
He's looking for the source of the dome.
Roll me a perception check.
That's only a 10.
You have no idea where the magic has to be on site based on what Clarice told you about the spell, but you have no idea where it's coming from.
As we leave the stadium, are there any flowers that I can pick along the way to share with my new butterfly friend later?
Well, we haven't left yet, but you are going to be walking very near the gardens and everything, so probably once we get to that. But I'd like to know.
I'm going to ready an action for then.
Okay.
Make sure I don't forget it. Yeah.
All right. How is everybody else feeling?
Well, Kilonian's glad that a peaceful solution was reached. Well, not really a peaceful solution, but everybody stopped fighting and went away, and that's good to live to have peace another day.
I mean, there is still the looming threat of a hostile takeover from the former dictator who everybody thought was dead.
Very true. We're going to have to figure that out. In the meantime, Kelonian is now that the immediate danger has subsided, Kelonian is a little worried for Angel.
Yeah.
Wants to get out there and see what Angel's doing.
Do you want to head out and see if you can find Angel?
If that's okay.
Yeah. So you walk back out the door that you came from, and Angel is completely oblivious of everything that's happened over the last few minutes, is still looking for grubs and seeds in between the paving stones outside.
I'm going to do another animal handling check to see if Angel will get into the chicken coop.
Okay.
Come on, Angel. About time to go. You missed a lot of excitement. It's a 12. Animal handling
All right,
check.
yeah. So that's enough with the 12. She do you like take the coop down, or do you like kind of lean your whole body over for her to climb up into?
Yeah, I lean down and enough for her to just hop up in there.
Okay. And then so you've got Angel. What are you going to do next?
Well, I'm going to make my way over back to the entrance. I'm assuming people are leaving, so I would just wait in the entrance for everybody else.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assumption. Belle, how are you feeling about everything that's just transpired?
Belle is very worried about her family. So I think for a little while she's just been like finding whatever. She very rapidly figured out that she personally cannot make a dent in this dome. So she has been finding any stray pebble or rock that she can and is throwing it because she figures at some point it's gonna break. And then once the information was finally relayed to her about the fact that somebody nearby is casting the spell, she immediately, all of her energy turns to finding whoever is in charge. So I would like to also do a investigation or perception? Perception.
Are you actively making any kinds of motions that would indicate that you were searching?
Oh yeah, she we went from like pebble to full on they're here, and is just.
Well, after your perception check, Clarice is going to make her way over to you because obviously we go back and is going to offer some additional information.
Cool. So perception. That's a 6.
You have no idea where this magic is coming from. You know that it's on site based on what Clarice told you, but you have no idea where the casters are.
Belle. So like there's more that I figured out about the spell. And like they're safe, right? Like they can't use their magic right now. But like as soon as all of the casters' concentration is broken, they will be like completely fine. Like they're safe in there, and they're like, you know, they're just sort of waiting for when they're let out again. So like nothing's gonna harm them, and they can't do any magic while they're in there.
Ew.
I know, right? But like the other things that I learned were like we're not getting through this. Like it's legit.
Okay, so first of all, hear me out. We need security at these events from now on.
I know, right?
At
like
least 3 Secret Service teams.
Yeah, like 1 for every important person and a spare just because. Anyway, yes. First of all, no magic, ew. Second of all, what if they all inside threw pebbles?
So, like, from what I got, which again, like, this is not a spell that I have seen before. I just like...
Yeah, I mean, I think I would remember.
Right. So, like, from what I got, like, the whole, like, trying to power your way through it, like, all that stuff is just, like, an interminable exercise. So, like, they can do whatever they want to entertain themselves, but, like, remember, they're together, girl. Like, they're safe, they're together, and, like, what we need to do right now is, like, make our parents proud, because you know that they're not going to forgive you if you don't make this into a moment.
So Belle's just, like, nodding along, and she's definitely being, like, interminable.
Interminable?
She's like, that's a word I definitely know. But then she focused on we gotta make this a moment. And she's like, yeah, okay, you're right. Let's go find these jerks and show them what's what.
As we're leaving, can I do a perception check to see if there are any outhouses inside the dome?
Yeah.
13.
No.
It is an emergency. We have to get those people out right now. It's gonna get real bad real fast in there.
You can see in there.
Yeah, you can see, but it's kind of like if you've ever been at a campfire and you're like looking at people on the other side of the campfire, like you can see, but there's a lot of it's like these waves of energy. Or if you think of like the glass balls that you would see at like a science museum where you could put your hand on it and it would move, the static would like move the little lightning inside, kind of like that, but really dense. So you can see through it, but it's very hard to make out details.
How has Ruckus communicated his concern?
To nobody.
Okay. But like...
Outhouse is not one of the 20 perk buttons he's got.
Yeah, so he and I have spent a lot of time together.
Right.
And is it your sense that Ruckus is like demonstrating distress in any way?
I guess you'd be cocking his head to one side as he kind of walks by. Like,
No, go. Help.
So...
I could say, yeah.
Many. No. Go.
Clarice is gonna say, yeah, they're stuck.
Ruckus. Understand. Help. Question mark?
No. Help Clarice.
Ruckus. Understand. Good.
Okay.
Having not picked up on an external caster, I think Andric's next instinct is to kind of like do a quick survey of the dignitaries who were on the stage to try and very quickly clock, might this have been an inside job?
Roll me an insight check.
And do I need to tell you who, or am I just doing a general, like...
I'll let you choose 2 of them.
I want to read on Thistle and Gideon.
Okay.
Am I doing separate insight checks, or am I doing a single insight?
Do a single insight check.
Not good.
What did you...
That's 6.
Yeah, as far as you can tell, they are very upset by what's happening.
Yeah.
And in fact, they've all kind of gathered on in a corner near the stage, near the dais, and they're looking at each other and looking back at the 4 of you who are still here, because Kilonian is gone outside, looking at each other, looking at the 4 of you, and Philomena is going to walk up to you and say, like, I think it's probably going to be for the best if you all come with us. Now. Please. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, obviously.
And Clarice is going to, performance check on whether or not Clarice looks important in this moment, and, like, if she is recognized. She's, like, trying to, like, hold her jaw like her dad right now. That's a 14.
I think that's plenty, because Gideon is there and has kind of told everybody that, like, at the very least, she knows that your parents are friends with Gideon. She might not know yet who your parents are, but she knows that your parents are friends with Gideon, and therefore, like, yes, you must come. But also, the 5 of you and Kilonian's outside, so really the 4 of you are pretty much the only students, and therefore some of the only magical users who are around right now, because everybody else is under the dome. Graduation's a big deal, especially when it was this holiday. So they want you to come with them, partly because, yeah, you might be of some help, but also they don't really have a choice.
We weren't going to give them one anyway.
Andric is looking around for, there's this still asleep satyr who's been bound.
Right.
and is like starting to lift up one arm and is looking for a little help to drag this.
Oh, I'll help. Sounds like a big bug ball you're trying to get out of here.
Ruckus. Help! Question mark?
Yes, please.
Good.
So, Ruckus, do you take him by the other arm, or do you just, like, scoop him up and fire him and carry the...
I think I could probably just do it myself. I mean, if just like...
Strength check.
You just want a strength check?
Yeah, just a strength check.
That's a straight up 10.
I mean, satyrs aren't that big. I think that's fine. You're going to struggle with him a little bit. He's a limp body.
I will, like, once I see what Ruckus is doing, I would kind of, like, help, like, then heave the satyr onto Ruckus's back.
Okay, so we'll call that help action. Do you want to roll your strength check again?
That 20.
Oh, yeah. So you pick him up. You don't just fire him and carry him. You, like, drape him over your shoulders like a shawl.
You! Help! Ruckus. Good.
Thank you, and you're welcome.
Yes.
So are we all following the officials out?
Clarice is going to follow.
Andric is if Ruckus is, because I'm locked in on the satyr.
Okay.
Clarice is going to follow, but she is deliberately going to hang a little back and be scanning as they're going to see if there is a natural way for her to sort of swing by the coffee shop, get away, she's not sure that this is the right course of action.
Mm-hmm.
She did say back in 5.
Yeah. She is very interested in sending a letter home and finding out if, like, obviously Thistledore is not campaigning, but, like, is it even okay to, like, be around her right now, because this is not going to help the campaign that her dad is working on actively.
Mm-hmm.
And just, like, being a part of the what is likely to be a media circus in the coming days is not on her list of things to do.
Now that Ruckus has taken the bound sleeping satyr,
The loot from the session.
As we follow the professors and dignitaries out, I want to take a look and do a quick read on how the folks trapped within the dome, are they, like, pounding to get out? What are the folks in the dome doing?
Let's do an insight check.
It's a 4.
Well, you can't.
I can help.
You can.
I'll point him over to the dome. Insight in that direction.
I don't think that's really.
Is that a helpful action?
No, I think so. I think that you can't tell how they're doing, but what you can see.
But I want to see, like, physically what they're doing is really what I'm.
Oh, okay. Then investigation check. Sorry, I thought that you were
use the same roll that I just did. Okay, that's better. That's a dirty 20.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I thought that you were trying to get, like, how are they spiritually?
No.
Dirty 20 on investigation to find out what they're doing. It's not easy to see clearly, but what you can see is a group of your classmates who you know to be casters have gotten together and are trying to figure out if they can shoot a combination of effects at the dome to see if they can break it from the inside. And for a dirty 20, I will say you also see a fighter that you know from school, or somebody you assume to be a fighter, coming up with a very large bludgeoning weapon. And they strike at the wall, and as it hits, they go flying back. And, like, the wall has hit back at them.
I do also imagine that there are some family members, one of whom is a literal mayor, who is probably, like, working through the crowd to, like, impose some sense of not panic.
I think that there are some officials that are there who are trying to kind of calm things down. You can see that there are already maybe there's some organizing that's happening. Like, we're gonna have to dig toilets. We're gonna have to figure out, can we, like, make food happen in here? Magic doesn't seem to really have much of an effect in here.
Oh my god, poor Mint.
Yeah. So, Clarice, you were just asking if there was a way for you to sneak away?
Yeah, like, I am not sure that I should let my face be associated with whatever statements they're going to put out. And I feel like it is not the best idea for me to just, like, salute Adora. Like, whatevs.
So you are all going to file out of Memorial Stadium towards Sovereign House. It's not very far, and it does take you through the town square where Sacred Grounds is. So if you want to like truly sneak out, you can stealth check. If you want to try and persuade someone that there's a reason that you need to just duck in quickly, you can try that.
I am just gonna walk slowly and try to stealth my way away.
All right, do a stealth check.
That's a nat 20 with a +6 modifier.
Wow,
You sneak
okay.
halfway across the continent before anybody notices you.
Bella's just full on having a conversation with Clarice.
And then suddenly Clarice isn't there.
Just never notices.
So, okay. Everybody else, the administrators and the politicians are pretty far out ahead of the group. Ruckus is carrying this adversary on his shoulders.
Maybe your friend. Someday.
Like, what are you thinking, Ruckus?
So Ruckus has the satyr over his shoulders. And I think, Andric, where is your head at as you're following?
I'm diligently following. I didn't pick up on what the source of the dome was. I didn't pick up on, this being an inside job from one of the professors. I think I'm still walking a little bit skeptically.
Okay.
But I am following.
Stumps, how do you feel about having been looped in on all of this?
Well, I'm real worried about all those people in that dome there. They, don't have anything to eat. Don't have anybody to use the toilet. They gotta figure out how to get out of there. We gotta get them out of there.
Okay.
I want to be part of the help.
You want to be one of the helpers.
That's right.
Okay.
Wanna be where the people are.
See them dancing.
All right. So Clarice, on that nat 20 +6, you stealth away. You're hanging in the back. What happens when you get to Enchanted Grounds?
I'm gonna let myself in and then lock the back door behind me again.
Okay.
I'm gonna make myself a really, really large, just like 20-ounce cup of espresso shots.
And given that you are, 3.5 feet tall?
Yeah.
That's a lot of caffeine.
I'm not planning to drink all of it right now. This
Okay.
is like going in the water bottle, so
Okay.
I can just, take it as needed.
This is her long rest.
And then I'm going to start writing messages.
Okay.
And there are 3 messages that I'm going to prepare.
Okay.
The first is going to be a letter addressed to MJ Busborough. And
Your mom.
yes, that is my mom, but that is not how I will be greeting her in the letter.
Okay.
It is going to be as cloaked as I can.
Okay.
So it's just going to say MJ Busborough, and inside the note, it will say, "Dear MJ, weird events, I had to leave work. Wondering how the job is going. Let me know if you need me to join you. Eagerly awaiting your reply."
Okay.
And it's going to be signed CS. Okay. This is not something that I'm going to mail immediately.
Okay.
Because nobody is in the town.
No.
But
there are a few people who are going to be milling about,
yeah,
but
I'm going to be looking for an opportunity to get this
Okay.
more expediently to my mother.
Okay.
The next note that I'm going to write is one for Gideon.
Okay.
And this is going to get folded intricately.
Mm-hmm.
It's specifically, if you're interested, the sheet of paper will be folded once hot dog style, then again hot dog style. Then it will be folded into a right angle. Then that long strip, which forms now an L, is going to be tucked around the triangle formed at the corner until I am able to lock one end of the note in and then the other, creating a tiny folded football.
I remember folding notes like that.
Yes. I'm trying to make it as small as is reasonable without it becoming illegible, that it will say Gideon on it.
Okay.
And the note is going to read, Uncle G, is this where I'm supposed to be? Give me any kind of signal. A nod or a shake of your head will do. Just let me know if I should be helping with this. Signed. Your niece, quote marks around niece.
Okay.
Cece. Okay. Cece is spelled C-I-S-I. Okay.
Okay.
Cece. He will know what this means. And then the final note that I'm going to write is for the university president, Philomena.
Okay.
And this is going to be the one that I spend the most time on. I'm going to keep it very formal and not coded at all. Dear Dr. Blunderstone, it has come to my attention that many current and former students of the university appear to be in danger. In your role as university president, I address you now with an exhortation to muster the alumni body in pursuit of the criminal element who have so grievously attacked our commencement ceremony. Your actions will speak to whether or not Shalamir lives in infamy or in the pages of history as a worthy institution. Signed, a very concerned alum.
Oh.
And this I'm going to seal in a letter, and I am going to put in the first mail drop box I can find. This is going to be coming anonymously. And I'm just going to note that I, on this last one, will have put the insignia of my college, which is an arms shield, or gold color, with a chevron between 3 cinquefoils in jewels in red.
Okay.
And I will have sketched this on the seal of the envelope, indicating the College of Whispers, aka Talmadge Hall. The final thing I'm going to do before I make my way to Sovereign Hall is I'm going to go to the back of the cafe, and I'm going to put some provisions in my satchel.
Okay.
In addition to a couple snacks for me and my bottle of pure espresso. I'm going to put 3 bananas, a crust of bread, and I am going to go into my boss's office, dig in the drug and alcohol drawer, and get some unidentified tablets that may or may not be identifiable to somebody like Belle.
Okay.
Are they stone tablets? Are they slate tablets?
To be clear, I mean pills.
Yes.
Drugs.
We're talking about drugs.
Ruckus.
Pills!
Okay. So with that,
Now I'm going to make my way to Sovereign Hall, but I am not going to use the front entrance. I am going to go around. I hope that I know enough about Sovereign Hall. Okay.
Yeah. You definitely spent some time there as a kid.
Yeah. So I'm going to go through the legislative aid entrance to the side.
Okay.
Can I just say, I imagine that at whatever point you rejoin our group, Bella's still talking to you.
I'm hoping to rejoin the group in business, like not make it clear that I'm entering the room. So I will also need to do a stealth check upon re-entry because it is my intention to basically slip straight back in.
Yeah.
And to just put... the biggest is actually a sleight of hand check. I need to get that note into Gideon's lapel.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you also want to get the note to Philomena into the mail. And
yeah, I'm hoping that I can just loop past a mail drop box on the way because that one is not as pressing.
Yeah, I mean the Sovereign Hall is very close to where like all of the main parts of the university are, so you don't have very far to go. Mm-hmm. Do an investigation check to see if you find a mailbox.
15.
Yeah, I think that you encounter a mail drop, just kind of unmanned one, sort of on a corner on your way. And we're going to pause on Clarice, and everybody else is walking through the very, very quiet streets of Shalamir. And eventually you come upon Sovereign House. Sovereign House, the meeting place of the Grand Council, Urvara's legislative party, sits near Majin Marshall. During the reign of the autocrat Phineas Malveaux, the council was disbanded and the building was left to rot. But over the last 30 years, it has been restored to its former glory. Outside the building, the sculpture of a winged sphinx looks out over Lake Tannin and the Monument to Knowledge, where the peace accords that officially ended the Malveaux reign were signed. Normally, the red granite facade of the Sovereign House, with its gilded inscription added after the Revolution, "For the spirit of unity we uphold the law," is the sort of place that citizens enter with a sense of wonder and awe. But today, the Bards are led through the patinaed copper doors and straight into the legislative chambers. As you are entering the doors, actually, what is everybody's passive perception other than Anne?
14.
Also 14.
15.
11.
So, Kelonian, you are going to notice as you walk through the doors, just this very faint vertical cut in the doors. And the doors are copper, so this was no easy feat. It looks like it's relatively fresh because the patina that would be there has actually kind of flaked away. So you see this like sliver where it's truly copper colored rather than that patina color. So you notice that is there, but that's all you really are going to see.
This is the entrance to
Sovereign Hall, to the legislature.
To Sovereign Hall. And do the people who are at the head of the group seem to notice this or stop at all?
They're in a huge hurry.
Okay. Then Kelonian. Okay, well, I guess I should do like an insight here. Does this seem to be an indication that there's like there's been a break-in in there?
Do an investigation check.
11.
It could be one of any number of things, but it's definitely fresh.
Mm-hmm. Well, then Kelonian is gonna jog up to the front of the group there. Whoever is in the front. Who do we think is in the?
I think that Thistle is probably the person in the front as one of the party's head or one of the country's heads.
Okay. Oh, hold on there, Miss Thistle. I don't know if you noticed, but there's this big gash in the door. Looks like it could be trouble.
What? Not right now, dear. We have bigger things to worry about.
Do I hear this?
Yeah. We're all pretty close together, yeah.
Belle, with all of the audacity that can only come from being raised as a only child of only children and very wealthy, will say, we were all just attacked. Maybe we should be aware of potential traps that's going to take out, I don't know, a third of our leadership?
Thistle sighs loudly, and she looks at Phala and just kind of points her chin toward the door. Fela is going to come. She'll do an investigation check of her own, but that's a nat 20. And so with that, she's looking very closely at the door, and she can tell that this is made from just a regular knife. It was clearly done with quite a bit of force, quite a bit of strength. And she also sees that there is just a tiny corner of like a sheet of paper that is sticking out of where that gash in the door was. So it seemed that somebody had tried to drive a letter of some kind into the door.
And this break in the door seems recently made.
Yes, from Keylonian's check, he could tell that the patina around that gash had kind of flaked away. Okay. And I would say also, based on what Fela has seen with her nat 20, the piece of paper that is lingering there, it's not yellowed, it's not weather beaten, it's a piece of paper that has not been exposed to the elements. So with that, Gideon's going to kind of, I guess someone was trying to leave us a note. And they're going to continue in. As you follow down the halls,
is nobody going to take
the note?
Well, no, it's just a corner of a piece of paper. There's not.
Oh.
Yeah.
A note in the door.
Yeah. I was like,
weird.
We're just going to keep walking.
Move it out of the way. Now, back to my hunch.
As the campaign grinds to a halt,
Yeah.
because
no,
one...
it is not a note. It is the remnants of a note. So either the note has blown away or somebody has already collected it.
Got it. Cool.
So as you all continue on inside, you're going to see a collection of legislative aides. These are the people who like truly are keeping the government running, so they don't get to take time off to go to a graduation ceremony while all of their bosses have gotten to go to the ceremony.
They are simultaneously not important enough and too important.
Yeah. So they're kind of nervously standing around just inside the door. When the thunder happened and the sky went dark, they went outside and they were close enough that they heard Malveaux's likeness giving that very ridiculous speech about wanting to be back in power. But they didn't dare leave their positions because they don't know what sort of danger awaits them. So now they're just standing around. They're very nervous, waiting to find out what happened. And they're going to surround Thistle, and she's going to just walk through them. Clarice, roll me a stealth check at this point.
That was a crit fail. I do have a +6 modifier, but I don't know if you want to allow that.
No. So with your crit fail, you're going to come running in from the side, pretty out of breath, and you are going to collide with Thistle.
Where have you been?
I don't answer to you.
But I do recommend you respect our leaders more. And as he helps up, this is where that nat 1 comes into play. I get to regain the bardic inspiration that I previously expended.
Okay.
And Clarice is going to turn towards Thistle Odora and do the most scathing glance up and down as though she is taking Odora's measure and finding her insufficient. And then, without any other words, she's going to walk directly over to Gideon, take the note out of her pocket, and very obviously tuck it in his lapel pocket and give him a kiss on the cheek.
Thistle's going to look at you as she kind of dusts herself off. Like, right, so you're the Busboro girl.
That's not my name. You are correct that I am a daughter of the Busboro family. But I have made my own name. Thank you very much. It's Clarice Sauercloud, and you will call me that.
Well, okay then. Follow me, Clarice Sauercloud.
Why?
Do we have to do this here?
If you'd like to take it elsewhere, I'm down.
That's not what I just want us to be in a slightly more private space. That's all.
You did just bowl the Triarch over. Perhaps we should move on.
Oh, I'm moving. And Clarice just sort of skirts around Adora and starts walking as though she knows where she's going, because she totes does.
I love that you call her by her last name too. Like, just the not Triarch Adora, just Adora. So, all right, Clarice kind of knows her way around. Thistle Adora is going to continue walking toward the legislative chambers.
Is there any performance check necessary for the absolute false confidence that Clarice is currently?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure. Let's. I was just gonna have her ignore it, but sure. Yeah. Have a.
That's a 16 for performance.
Thistle's going to look you up and down. Just be like, you can leave.
I'll stay for now, but don't think this means you have my vote.
Okay, well, just follow me.
While this exchange is happening, if I may, given what the Grand Illusion had said, what might we recall about like Thistle and like her break with her family and like how she might have played into the overthrow?
A history check.
15.
So Thistle was a very young child. She's in her 40s, early 40s. So she was pretty young when the autocracy fell. Her parents were mid-level bureaucrats. They were not elected officials. There were no elected officials, but they had no real power. But they were very much sycophants of Malveaux. If Malveaux wanted an order executed, they were amongst the first to make sure that it happened. Whether they were doing this because they truly supported the regime or whether they were afraid of ever defying him is unclear. But Thistle knows that her life changed quite a bit when the autocracy fell. Her family that had been very wealthy and respected to the point of being feared was practically exiled. And she ran on a campaign where she talked about having really come from nothing to get to where she is today, and has been very clear in her own opposition to the sorts of policies that were implemented under the Malveaux autocracy.
And if I could just do a follow-up. So it's her realm, more I'll say in the the militaristic side, the environmental side, finance and administration. What's her ballywick?
What Clarice knows is that Adora is a part of the National Congress, the Green Party. The National Congress is trying to be an of the people, by the people party. Clarice is connected enough family-wise to know a little more about Adora and sort of how she works with her legislative staff and things like that, and that's what's causing Clarice to be extra catty. But it's also because in the Green Party, Thistle Adora is one of the youngest leaders. Mm-hmm. My mother is far more senior in the party.
Yes, yeah. So MJ is her. She works with the Greens,
right? But I assume I Andric don't know all of that detail.
No,
but I would know then that
National Congress and that she is
the Greens,
right? But I assume I Andric don't know all of that detail. But I would know then that
National Congress and that she is because in the backstory that Jill has provided, right? There's like a very clear of the people narrative that's also consistent with the party.
Yeah. So that's what you know about Thistleodora. So she is going to, and it should be noted, the triarchs don't, like, this is where the legislature meets. This is not where the triarchy meets. In fact, the triarchy is based in another city, which was done on purpose to keep, in case anything like today happened, to keep the executive and the legislative branches separately so that the country wouldn't grind to a halt. So Thistle is there really in a ceremonial capacity and does not have the other triarchs with her because they try never to have the triarchs in the same place at the same time.
Platysima is that?
Yes. Yes, Platysima is, it's like the second
capital. The U.S.
capital.
government literally does the same
Yes,
thing.
it's well, like, I mean, the U.S. government, we still have the executive and the legislature in the same city, but this is, Platysima is basically considered the city's second capital, and because it's more of a parliamentary structure than a congressional structure. The country runs just fine for the most part, having the legislature doing their thing and the triarchs as more figureheads. But I think that's probably more than you needed to get out of your history check. So Thistle is going to guide all of you toward the legislative chambers and look at all of you and say, wait here, and look at Clarice, especially you.
Clarice just rolls her eyes and pretends to chew gum.
Pretends to chew gum open-mouthed. I love it.
Smacking it.
So with Thistleodora and Gideon Stormcaller, you're also getting your higher-ups from the university who are going into this chamber with them. You're sitting in basically it's just an antechamber. It's like a reception area to this. There's not a lot of grandeur here. It's not like really the rest of the building. It feels like a secretary's office. There is a sofa and a couple of chairs, and there's a desk that is currently unoccupied, although that's probably where the secretary of the legislature would be sitting. And you are just being asked to wait. What do you all do?
So for those who are not at the table, Anne and I just immediately looked at each other because apparently Belle and Clarice are going to start some shit.
And for additional context, dear listeners, Belle and Clarice have known each other forever.
Since childhood. They're not particularly close now. They respect each other. They've worked together and made opportunities for each other while in university. But this is not a friendship so much as a partnership. A partnership forged as children in legislative buildings such as this one, finding things they should not find, doing things they should not do, and knowing things they absolutely should not know.
I love it. So what are you thinking?
So first of all, Belle's immediate instinct is, how dare you? Like, they invited us, and then they're just like, oh, wait here? Forget that. So the question is, and she's gonna look to Clarice, and she's like, so do we listen in, or do we just go do our own thing?
Why not both? Divide and conquer.
Okay.
All right. Be back. Synchronize watches.
Back in 5.
Belle is going to reach into a pocket and pull out a watch, and they're synchronizing their watches.
I think probably we've got 3-4 minutes if she's just gone into the secure phone room.
Yeah. But can you still fit in that vent?
I mean, look at this.
Yeah, okay. So Belle is going to walk over to the wall on the opposite side of the room, and there's a vent up, an air vent up toward the wall, and she's just going to position herself and be like, hop.
And Clarice, without a second thought, no concern for all of the people watching them right now, is going to take 2 steps back, run forward, and do essentially a cheer jump onto Belle's hands. What am I rolling to see how that goes?
Acrobatics.
Can I do the help action?
Yes, you absolutely are helping here.
So that was, that's definitely, it's a 19.
Yeah. So you hop up there. How do you, was the vent already open or do you have to?
I am while standing on Belle in a cheer stance.
Okay.
I am going to do what I have done before, apparently to this exact vent, because it is inappropriate how easily I can pry the screw out. But it's a flat-headed screwdriver. I use my thumbnail, twist it 15 to 30 degrees, and it immediately swings open.
The security in this building is just embarrassing.
To be fair, the screws were positioned so that unless somebody is sticking their thumbnail in it and turning it 15 to 30 degrees, the vent's never going to come loose.
So you open that.
And then I am going to feel around.
What do you do with the cover of the vent?
So I'm just swinging it down.
Okay.
So if you
So it's, like,
imagine the
hinged.
pivot point on the left where that screw has not been unscrewed, I'm just taking the actual vent cover and against the wall, swinging it down 90 degrees. So it's flush with the wall. And I'm going to feel around. And in there is going to be a lock-picking set that I'm going to pass down to Belle, who's going to be able to tuck it in her cleavage.
Oh, yeah, 100%. She doesn't even need, you can just drop it and it's just boom. Which is a feature that they did not have when they were children.
And then,
I'm not even going to make you roll for it. Yes.
And then I'm going to put my arms both in the shaft. And I'm going to say, on 3, you ready to push me?
1, 2, 3.
Hey! And then I'm going to giggle from inside the shaft because I really haven't done this in a long time.
Stealth check.
It's a 24.
Somehow nobody hears you.
Can we take a moment to see what's happening for our 3 friends in the room?
We are literally about to do that.
Keylonian looks at the other 2 guys and goes, "Fellas, what are we doing to contribute to this situation?"
But that being said, Belle, we still haven't had a bathroom break, and you were drinking so much water. So will you please do a constitution check for me?
Sure. Check or saving throw?
Saving throw.
Cool. I don't know why I asked. It's the same modifier. 10.
As soon as you get Clarice off your shoulders, you do like a little jump to celebrate.
And then you're like, gotta go.
Gotta go.
Okay. Cool. She's just gonna shout out, BRB!
All right.
Be right at the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then she's just gonna zoom out of the room.
Do a history check. This is to see if you remember what the bathroom is. The nearest bathroom is
14.
Yeah, I think you remember where there is a bathroom. You actually don't remember where the nearest one is. So if you had rolled a 15 or higher, there is a bathroom like attached to this room.
Cool.
You instead wind up walking out the door you came in and you go down the hall. It's only about 20 yards. Like, it's not that far, but
it definitely was not optimal, but
right. Yeah.
You know what? She made decisions.
Yes.
And you commit to your decisions.
Yeah. All right. So with the 3 of you, let's say the satyr, whatever kept the satyr asleep through the whole walk is a bit of a mystery. We will never know. But the satyr is now beginning to stir a little bit on Ruckus's shoulders. What do the 3 of you fellas do?
Ruckus, you want to put that fella down?
Let me make sure.
That has a very different term for dogs.
I'll say,
Yes.
And I'll flop him unceremoniously down on. Is there a stool somewhere nearby?
There's a sofa that
Onto the sofa
yeah.
he goes.
Well, unless you guys have any other ideas, think I'm gonna try to keep this fella calm.
Okay.
Ruckus. Help!
And I'll add the help action to whatever you're about to do.
Great.
I am going to draw the longsword that I have, not interfering, but just in case he does not stay calm.
Okay.
Glad you're waking up, my friend, and joining us here. Hope you're feeling all right. Your head's clear. We're gonna ask you a couple of questions now. Won't you help us out, old pal? And that is the Calm Emotions spell.
So is there a saving throw for that?
Yes. Charisma saving throw. 13.
So then because it's a saving throw, the way that's going to transfer is that this is going to be rolled at a disadvantage. Oh, that's a 10. So you succeeded.
Huzzah!
Yeah.
All right.
So he's sitting on the sofa. He's looking groggy and kind of mollified. Like he's looking suspiciously at you all, but he's not trying to like get out of his bonds. He's not trying to stand up and hurt anybody.
He is also covered in glitter.
He is also covered in glitter. So now there's going to be glitter all over the sofa in this antechamber.
Not my problem.
And it wouldn't be the first time, let's be real.
So, okay, so you've got this calmed, still groggy satyr. What are you doing while Belle and Clarice are doing their things?
Good morning.
Hello.
Howdy.
Ruckus waves.
Some of my companions have some very dear friends who are enclosed at the moment. Could really use some insight onto how to break the dome.
He scowls at you for a minute because being calm does not mean being happy. And he scowls at you. That's above my pay grade.
So is your pay grade, death, shall we say? And brandishes the sword.
Be careful there, buddy. That's good to end the spell if you threaten him.
This cause is far greater than me. You can attack me, but many more will follow.
I've heard legends of the Hydra.
Why are we talking about hydras? I'm just talking about those of us who believe in Malveaux.
Hey there, fella. You know, a lot of people are trapped under that dome, and imagine you wanted that as a sort of a threatening situation to sort of get what your folks are looking for. But I don't think making people not have stuff to eat or whatever. Like, why don't we make sure they're nice and safe under that dome? Can you provide any safety to the folks that are under there?
Ruckus chimes in and says,
You give bananas? Question mark?
Bananas?
Thanks, Ruckus. What he means to say, my pal Ruckus, is, are you gonna feed the people in there?
Woo! Yes.
We will make sure that all of the people are taken care of. Their needs are going to be met.
Oh, good. That's one thing I was wondering. Thanks for cooperating. You can ask me to play a song if you'd like.
now taking requests.
I'm taking requests.
Why would I do that?
I don't know, just figured that offer.
I mean, unless you want to play Phineas Malveaux as our glorious savior, I cannot think of a song that I would like you to play.
You know, I don't find it fully appropriate, so might not play that one for you.
He just is going to scoff, and then he's going to go back to glaring at Andric, who's still brandishing the sword, yes?
Just holding it casually. At this point, he's put it down. He's like just holding it casually at his side.
It's a casual brandish.
You can threaten me all that you want. I only know what I know.
Ooh, I'm gonna say, I can do this. The bark button is N-O, but I can say,
You? No. Question mark?
That's what I said.
Listen, we're very curious about what you know.
Yes.
Either persuasion or intimidation check.
I think with the sword out, it's going to be intimidation.
I will use the help action.
That's an 18 intimidation.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Okay. Listen, I'm serious. I only know what I know. They told me that I was in charge of freezing all of you. I don't know how the dome works. I don't know who's in charge of it.
Who is they?
Malveaux's people.
Whose names are?
I only know what I know.
You?
Do you know their
No.
names?
Question mark?
No, we try to keep things very secret in case we are captured.
So no one's going to miss you then.
I didn't say that.
Hendrik is ready for blood.
There's a knock at the door. Not from the legislative chamber, the door from the lobby where you came in. What do you all do when you hear the knock?
Andric is still keyed in on the satyr.
Okay.
I guess I'll turn to Colonia and say,
Ruckus. Go. Look. Question mark?
Oh, yeah. Go for it, buddy.
Yes.
I'll go across the room and open it up. I'm going to say,
Hello.
So standing in the doorway is an orc who's got a name badge, like a lot of the legislative staff do. The name on the name badge is Clarva Dasham. And they're going to just kind of stand in the doorway, look around. Who's that?
I'm going to point and say,
This. No. Dogthunk.
Oh, you bring up a great point there, Clarva. We never even asked you your name. What's your name there, pal?
You only know what you need to know.
That's a strange name. It's takes a long time to fill out forms, I imagine.
Clarva is going to look around. They told me Clarice and Belle were here. Where are they? So yeah, we're gonna leave this antechamber for now, and we're going to go back to Clarice.
So Clarice is making her way through the ductwork and remembers that in the soundproofed cloakroom there is ductwork. And so she's going to try to follow voices.
Okay.
So Clarice wants to listen in on the meeting that is happening without us.
Right. Yeah, it's not a cloakroom. It's the legislative chambers.
So the intention is to get as close to the legislative chambers as possible without being exposed.
Okay.
So
you're hoping that if you're like in the adjacent cloakroom, you can spy, but you will be undetected?
yes.
Roll me another stealth check.
That's a 24.
Nobody knows that you're there.
Great. So Clarice is listening and is going to continue to monitor her watch because she doesn't want to stay so long that she hears them actually prepare to go back outside.
Okay.
So on the clock, she and Belle had agreed that they would have 3 minutes once they got into position. She's going to extend that. She's going to take a little risk here.
Okay.
So she's going to tell herself 4 minutes and 30 seconds of listening.
Okay. Before I tell you what she overhears, Belle, what happened to you when you...
So Belle went to the restroom, and that was, I hope I don't have to roll, very successful.
Her bladder is emptied.
Yes. She does at some point ditch the graduation robes fully because she thinks that she's more charming and aesthetically pleasing in her dance outfit.
She's certainly more noticeable.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And where Clarice handles subterfuge, Belle doesn't. So Belle, just with all the confidence in the world, strides into the pool of aides who I assume are still sort of waiting for any sort of instruction, and starts making friends. And she's like, oh my god, I haven't seen you in so long. How are you? And probably, like, some of them have letters of recommendation that have been written by her parents. And some of them she has given tickets to the festival in the past. And, you know, she just knows them and she's friends with them. And so she's going to start pumping them for information on what has been happening since the storm cloud, but also see what she can do to start getting them to start putting out feelers regarding like what areas are very vulnerable and like who may actually not be able to be trusted. She will also pick the aide that has the most, like the one that she trusts the most, and get them to send a message back home to make sure that they're aware that things are amiss and make sure that they're ready to protect the people who live there.
Great. Let's go back to the ductwork above the legislative chambers first. Clarice, so you got your stealth check. They don't know that you're there. But now I'm going to need you to roll a perception check to determine how much you can hear.
It was a 5.
Okay.
Peas and carrots, peas and carrots, peas and carrots.
So,
given Clarice is channeling her childhood self and feeling a little emboldened, if I perceive that I am failing to hear correctly at a 5, and that I'm just not really understanding anything, I am going to try to creep.
Yeah, okay. Because with a 5, you pretty much are just like the one word that you can really even make out is Malveaux. Okay. Like, that's not going to be very helpful.
No. So I am going
stealth check.
do a stealth check. That's a 25.
Okay. So,
and to be clear, what I'm trying to stealthily do is actually this is gonna look real silly, but I'm trying to just look like a boring legislative aide, and just like walk down to get some papers that are sort of near-ish but inconspicuous.
Okay. Well, first you have to get out of the duct.
Yeah.
So that is going to be another acrobatics check.
Okay. That's an 18.
Okay, so you very quietly get out of the ductwork. Are you still wearing your academic robes?
I was never wearing them. I was in my work clothes.
That's right, you were in your work clothes.
And so it's an all black coffee shop classic.
Okay. So I think then you come out of it. The duct that you're in, that you're coming out of, is very near to that door to the cloakroom. Nobody would be coming in and out of the cloakroom per se as an aide, but it wouldn't be unusual for you to have been there because you were putting something away in the closet. So if you just open and close the door, you can get away with just being an aide. I think everybody's going to notice the door open and turn and look at you, but they're really in the midst of something. So the fact that an aide is coming through does not really raise an eyebrow, and nobody is, with what you rolled, I think nobody's really going to take too much note of you. So what are you doing?
So I'm going to grab a stack of paper from the nearest legislator desk in the room, and I'm going to walk down the aisle that is closest to the cloakroom entrance. And can I just ask how many tiers there are? If I was trying to get to the people who are talking, what kind of distance am I trying to cover?
Tiers like rows of seats?
Yeah.
20?
Okay. So I am going to just move 25 feet.
Okay.
And sort of swap out some papers, sit down looking beleaguered, and grab a pen so it looks like I'm writing.
Okay, do a performance check.
That's a 22.
Yeah, I mean, they mostly told the aides to leave them alone for a minute, but you seem to be doing something really important, and none of them are going to take the time to ask the other if they know who this person is or why they're there. So you're in the room.
Security in this place is
real bad. It's real bad. I mean, the country's been at peace for 30 years.
Yeah, clearly not very well deserved.
So what you are going to hear, I am not going to have a very long conversation with myself because nobody needs to be subjected to that from our audience. So I'm just going to give you the highlights. You hear Thistle telling everybody that we can't let fear cloud our judgment here, and that our first and foremost priority is to protect the people of Urvara'a. What that exactly means right now, she's not entirely sure, but she is pretty clear with... It seems pretty clear that Gideon is trying to urge her to take a decisive martial action. And Gideon also notes that Malveaux, if that really is Malveaux, is a weak old man, and so he should be pretty easy to take if they gather the troops and fight. Fela is going to add to this that we don't actually, to the extent that we don't even know that it's Malveaux at all, we don't know how weak or how old he is, because we don't know what kind of magic is at play here. Like, everybody saw this man die. He was hanged in a public square. So we have no idea what is happening here that has precipitated this, at least presumptive, return. Thistle is going to turn to Fela and ask if she has any idea what kind of magic could be at use. And Fela says, no, I told you it could be any kind of magic. I'm just a professor. You've got experts here. And Thistle is going to say, yeah, but a lot of those people were under the dome, and the ones who aren't here are a day's journey or more away. So I need you. And with the words, I need you to roll an insight check.
That's a 13.
There's a flicker of some history between them, but it's not something that you were ever a party to. And you hear Thelonious, our gnome druid, who's the chaplain for the university. And he just under his breath, he goes, spirits of nature, grant us solace and might, guide us through this daunting night, banish our fear and infuse us with grace, protect us now in your tranquil embrace. And Timony is going to look and be like, prayers aren't helping anyone, Thelonious, give it a rest.
You should try thoughts instead.
A world that has divine magic, which you use via prayers. It's like...
Philomena has been listening to all of this. She finally says, so what do we do? Some of the most powerful people in Urvara'a are trapped under a dome of energy on my campus. It's a spell I haven't encountered before, and my faculty and my students are all under it. And Thistle is going to cut her off and say she's already sent a message to the other two triarchs, and they should be on their way, but they need to buy some time. Getting an answer to Malveaux's people by midnight tomorrow is going to be a near impossibility. And we need to buy some time. We need to send in some negotiators.
Hearing that, Clarice is going to try to channel the most charm she's got.
Okay.
She is going to walk directly over.
Okay.
And she's going to say, it sounds like what you really need is a strategist.
All right, so we're going to leave Clarice, having just outed herself in the legislative chambers. And we're going to move back to the antechamber where Andric, Ruckus, and Stumps are with the satyr. And also, Clarva Dasham is still standing in the doorway trying to figure out what is going on. And the satyr is going to speak up and say,
I need to use the bathroom.
How do you all respond?
You! Go!
I don't think we should let him go unattended.
Question mark?
Clara, are there any guards or anyone that can oversee a prisoner escort to the facilities?
There's kind of a national emergency happening right now. I suggest that you take care of him yourselves.
I'm sure we can all use a trip to the restroom. Just been a big fight, so why don't we all go?
The nearest bathroom is through this door right here, and I don't think you can all fit in there at once. I would recommend one of you take the satyr.
It's been a while since Andric and Ruckus have really been together, and he just kind of looks at Ruckus. I hope you'll forgive the question, but do you use indoor facilities?
Yes.
Good. Why doesn't the dog take the satyr to the bathroom?
Does Ruckus find that offensive, the dog?
Yes. Ruckus. Dog folk.
Sorry. Why doesn't the dog folk take the satyr to the bathroom?
I'll go with and mind the door while you escort our new friend.
You can stand on the outside of the door.
And Clarva's going to open the door and reach kind of around and turn on the sink so that the sound of the running water hopefully muffles some of the sound between the bathroom and the antechamber. All right, so after the door closes and Ruckus and the satyr go inside the bathroom and Andrew
Can I ready an action?
You absolutely can ready an action.
If the satyr does anything other than go to the bathroom, I'm going to grapple.
So we'll get back to that in a moment.
I figured.
Don't worry, we'll have some potty time. After the door closes and Andric is positioned outside of it, Clarva is going to kind of size both of you up and say,
So as I was saying, or asking, where are Belle and Clarice?
I'm sorry, who?
Your classmates. They came in with you. I saw them.
Oh, is that their names?
There's honestly no reason to play dumb here.
Oh, I thought everyone was just playing dumb here. This guy certainly is. Pointing into the bathroom.
Is he dumb or...
Not you, Ruckus.
Is he dumb or scared?
Oh, he's stubborn. He's playing dumb.
That might be the case. I didn't have a chance to talk to him yet. Anyway, Belle and Clarice, do you know where they are?
Oh, I'm not really sure exactly where they are at the moment. They left the room. As you can see, they are not in this room. They are somewhere else, and I don't know where that is.
Am I, right off the, I can hear this
so
to the door?
The water's running in the bathroom. So let's do a perception check then.
15.
Okay, so with a 15, you hear parts of what is being said, but the water is there, and Clarva has a very kind of low-pitched voice, so it's not necessarily something that you're catching all of. But if you're catching enough that you're hearing the words Belle and Clarice, what are you going to do?
Ruckus. No.
Whoa! Is your friend quite all right?
No.
Yes.
Oh, he's all right. That's just Ruckus. Ruckus and I are pals. We like to play bug ball sometimes, which is it's a fun game that you play. And Angel can't play. Cleolonian motions to the chicken in the coop on his back.
Is that a chicken on your back?
Yes, that's Angel.
Interesting choice. Anyway, Belle and Clarice, I really do need to speak with them.
Perhaps if you tell us where we can reach you, then we can let them know when they get back. Or perhaps if you want to stay here and sit and have a conversation with us and just shoot the breeze, then we can wait around until they get back.
Can you do a charisma check?
Oh, you bet I can. 7.
That's with your modifier?
Yeah.
I like your moxie.
I rolled a 4.
As I was saying, there is a national crisis happening. I can't just hang out here and be chummy with you.
Well, suit yourself. If you got business to attend to, or perhaps if we can help in any other way, then we'd be happy to do that.
I'm going to subtly point my finger up towards the shaft that I saw them climb through, because to my knowledge, that's the last place I know where they went. And I'm going to cast Message. I think I'd be more inclined to do so at Clarice.
Well, Clarice is the only one who went through the vent. Remember, Belle walked out the door to go to the bathroom.
Right. So, but I'm going to point towards Clarice, towards where I last saw Clarice. So I don't know if this is going to work or not, and attempt to cast Message. We have company here. Where are you? What are you doing?
So remind me what the range is on Message.
120 feet.
Yeah, I think that even though you kind of point up toward the vent and Clarice is no longer there, you're pointing at least in the general direction of the chambers. So Clarice, do you...
And also, the specs say you can cast the spell through solid objects if you are familiar with the target and know it is beyond the barrier.
Yeah, so you're definitely familiar with the target. So, Clarice, how do you respond?
Here are the things that block the spell.
Okay,
real
yes.
quick. Magical silence, which doesn't come into play. 1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal, a thin sheet of lead, or 3 feet of wood. So if any of those things are in the way, then the spell doesn't work.
And if there's like magical silence on the important chamber where people are having secret meetings, like they could have just cast it, or it's like in there by default.
So you had been in the soundproof closet. You tell me, knowing that closet is soundproof, is the chamber soundproofed also? Okay, so I'm going to say that there's magical silence, and you're not going to be able to get through there. By the way, that was Anne nodding. Anne nodded, so we're not going to be able to get through there. Let me do a little perception check from Clarva to see if Clarva clocks you pointing up toward the...
Well, that's right. I'm trying to do it as subtly as I can.
And I was going to say, do you mind if I also do a perception check to see if I notice it? Because if I do, I might try to distract Clarva to
Yeah,
help.
sure. Why don't you do that first?
Okay. 11.
All right, I'm gonna roll a perception check. If you beat my perception check, then we'll say that you were able to cause a distraction.
Okay.
If not, I notice the pointing.
And should I be doing a sleight of hand check to contest this?
I think probably that's a good idea.
11.
Yeah, you beat my perception check. So you succeed on the sleight of hand. You succeed because I rolled a 6. So Andric's sleight of hand passes. Your performance check passes. How do you distract Clarva?
Could you describe Clarva a little bit?
Clarva is an orc, so quite tall, very sturdy looking, tusks, all the traditional orcish features. Clarva is in their mid-20s, so not that much older than all of you, but has this air about them that makes them seem much older. They're very serious. They've got glasses kind of perched at the tip of their nose. And roll me an investigation check.
All right, well, I'm getting all these low rolls out now. 9.
So with a 9, you can see that there are some smudges of ink on Clarva's fingers, which indicates that Clarva is probably up in the legislature in some sort of clerical role.
Ooh, the cleric class.
Yeah.
Clarva is actually a wizard, but you don't know that yet. But you rolled high enough on performance that you're distracting Clarva. So what are you doing to distract Clarva?
Oh, Clarva, I haven't shown you any of the music I've been writing. Pulls out a sheet of music, shows it to Clarva in the opposite direction of Andric, to get Clarva to turn their
Doing
attention.
his best Chris Pine impression from the D&D movie.
Exactly.
Look this way.
That's very nice, I think, but I can't read music.
Thought maybe you'd be into that. You're very clerical. I see you've been writing a lot. You got some sort of ink smudges here.
I take notes for the legislature? Why would that tell you that I can read music?
Well, I just, I write music and it's written down, and you write things down, and I write things down, and we both write things down. I thought that would be, a nice connection between us.
Colonian, I'm sure this gentleman is very important and very busy. Is there a message you would like us to give to Belle and Clarice if they return?
How do I know I can trust you?
Why wouldn't you trust us?
I was just lying to you a second ago.
But in case you didn't know, the three of us very much helped to ensure that the remaining dignitaries were able to get out of the stadium.
Yes, but getting them out also meant getting yourselves out. How do I know that wasn't just an act of self-preservation?
I don't think we would have escorted them here if we were purely in it for ourselves. I would have taken off running elsewhere if I was trying to stay out of trouble.
Andric is a person of great honor, and I don't know if you know this, but Andric was reading the Roll of Remembrance at the graduation ceremony.
So we're going to do either a joint persuasion check, or one of you can give the help action to the other.
What's your...
Let's do our individual rolls. Just see what happens. Dirty 20.
19.
Pretty good.
That time, Bob. All right, so Clarva is going to look at both of you, and you're going to see that Clarva just kind of wilts a little bit because it's been a very, very stressful morning. And as they do, they're going to sink down to the sofa and look at you and both say, and they will look at you both and they will say,
I was the one who found the note.
Oh. Clava, that must have been a difficult experience for you.
I can't believe this is happening.
Clava, it seems like that must have been something very difficult, but we don't really know what the note was all about.
Can I trust you?
We just established that you could.
Absolutely. I write a lot of songs, but I don't write songs about things that are private to other people.
Clarva is going to look up at both of you and, with shaking hands, hand you the note.
I take the note.
All right.
I will open it up to read it.
So written at the top is printed the words from the desk of Lucinda O'Cour, attaché to the Premier in Exile Phineas Malveaux. Do a history check.
15.
With a 15, you remember that Lucinda O'Cour was the Minister of Propaganda under the Malveaux administration, also an elf, so also very long-lived. And you've definitely seen footage of her, the same way that we might have seen footage of Goebbels or another Minister of Propaganda from another very, very stringent regime. And so as you read the note, you can kind of hear it in a voice that is familiar to you from those histories that you've seen. Attention traitors. The time has come for the return of His Glorious Eminence, Phineas Malveaux. You've already seen that he is with us still, and noted the power of those who support him. I warn you, do not cross us. Our demands are simple. At midnight tomorrow, the usurpers Thistleodora, Harry and Cantrell, and Carlotta Abledown are to present themselves in the center of the Monument to Knowledge, alongside any legislators who were fortunate enough not to attend today's festivities. There they must abdicate their powers. If they do this peacefully and of their own volition, they will stand trial for treason before the remaining members of the Obsidian Court, who have agreed to reconvene after a 30-year recess. The trial will be fair, of course, although the charges are quite serious and the evidence is overwhelmingly against them. And as you no doubt know, treason is punishable by death. Of course, if the so-called leaders of Urvara'a do not surrender themselves, there will be consequences. War will be declared on Urvara'a immediately, and the unyielding energy dome that contains many of the most powerful people in your country will be sent to another plane. Nobody will be harmed, but good luck finding them. Signed, Lucinda O'Cour. P.S. We know you're probably wondering if Malveaux is really still alive, but do you really want to gamble on the lives of all your citizenry?
Keylonian looks up at well, actually, I probably would have read it aloud.
Yeah.
If that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
I think so.
All right, then I would have read it aloud so that Andrew could hear it as well. And afterward, Keylonian would just shake his head and look up at Angel in the coop on his back and say, Angel, these are dark times indeed. We got to do what we can to help this place, help these people.
Clarva is going to look up at you from the sofa, and they will say to you, How can you help?
I think reading it out loud, I would just have eyes on you the whole time. Like, listening at the bathroom door, but... Old friend, I don't think pacifism is going to get us out of this one.
let's go into the bathroom.
Oh boy.
The adventures of Oops All Bards going to the bathroom.
The adventures of Poops All Bards going to the bathroom.
So just on the other side of the door where Andric is standing, there is a small bathroom. It's one stall, so there is actually a stall there separate from the sink, but it's still very small. Like, it's clearly meant for one person. And Ruckus is in the bathroom with the satyr. The satyr is going to stand there and kind of look at you. Ruckus, can you please do an insight check to see if you can tell why that satyr is just looking at you?
Oh boy, sure. 14.
So you can tell that the satyr needs his hands if he's going to use the bathroom, or he needs your help. How do you handle this?
Does this trigger my ready to action given that he's not going to the bathroom?
I mean, he needs to go to the bathroom. I don't think he's not trying to do anything else. He's just standing there waiting for an assist because his hands are tied behind his back so that he can't.
Yeah, sure. So I will, I open the door to the stall. I take a sniff. It smells terrible. And I gesture to the toilet and say,
You! Go. Question mark?
Yes, I would like to, but my hands are tied behind my back, and I can't do any of the things I need to do before going.
I don't think I...
Question mark?
I'm going to have this satyr roll a quick insight check because he's trying to get a read on Ruckus.
Probably hasn't encountered many bark button equipped dog folk before.
Probably hasn't met any dog folk before, period. All right, he takes a look at you, and he knows that he can't get away with running. You are too big. You are pretty much blocking the door at this point.
It's a very small room.
So
I'm taking up half of it.
You're taking up at least half of it. Are you on your hind legs, or are you on all fours? Right, you're on your hind legs. So he definitely knows that there's no way he's going to be able to get through the door there. The satyr is going to have him roll a little acrobatics check to see if he can do that thing sometimes where like you have your hands behind you, but you like manage to squat down and step through so that your hands are then in front of you.
Oh, like step around them, yeah.
Yeah. So he's gonna see if he can kind of jump rope his own arms, and he has no acrobatics ability. So this is a straight up rolls a 4, and he's just gonna turn his back to you and kind of like lift his arms slightly away from his back. Like,
can you please help me? I do truly need to go to the bathroom.
Ruckus is going to say,
Yes. Good.
Ruckus walks into the stall. He lifts the toilet seat up, and he turns to the satyr and gestures at the satyr's. Is the satyr wearing a shirt and pants, or like
the satyr's wearing robes over, like probably not only wearing robes. There are probably at least pants underneath there.
Okay, great. So I'll reach down. I'll say,
Ruckus. Help! Question mark?
The satyr is going to kind of roll his eyes like,
I guess.
Okay, great. So we'll reach down. We'll gather the robes, lift them up the legs, and then gather them in a bundle behind, like kind of near his rump, and then tuck them over top of his hand. And then tuck them over top of his hand so the robes are out of the way. And
amazing.
Then Ruckus will daintily undo the little drawstring that's around the pants, and he'll pull them down very gingerly, and he'll point at the bathroom and say,
You! Go. Good.
Do the pants go all the way down to his ankles?
Of course.
Okay, great. So we're peeing like a 3-year-old boy. The satyr is first going to roll a performance check to make sure he doesn't miss.
Wow, we are really going through the motions here.
You rolled a 5.
Ruckus has seen this before.
You did already say that the bathroom smells.
Oh, it's stinky in there, yeah.
So he's going to, because he can't like hold anything to aim, he's just going to kind of walk as close to the toilet as he can and kind of straddle it. But there's still going to be stuff that doesn't make it into the toilet.
Right.
And while that is
Just
happening,
up this to a PG rating.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Stuff. Ruckus, can you roll an investigation check?
To see what's in the toilet.
No, to see
Maybe there's
what's,
something good in there.
to see what else is happening with the satyr.
A 4.
He's very much struggling to get this
Oh, I've been there
to happen.
before.
And he's going to look behind him and say,
This is extremely embarrassing. Can you, like, at least turn your back or something?
No.
Ruckus grins. Ruckus doesn't trust the satyr. This is the satyr that, like, tried to escape and also tried to fight him, like, 15 minutes ago.
yeah, I think that's totally fair. And at this point, we're going to say that calm emotions spell has worn off completely.
Great, let's do it.
Listen to me, you stupid, stupid dog. I need help here.
Ruckus. Help! Question mark?
Yes.
Good.
Ruckus is very confused. I think he thinks he already helped. Oh! Ruckus understands. So now that he's finished peeing, I'll take the robe, I'll undo it, I'll drop it again, and I'll pull the pants back up, and I'll tie it daintily with the little drawstring.
You're dropping the robe before you pull his pants up?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Because I forgot to, so that's now what we're doing. Now it's
Okay.
canon.
So if you're doing that, then once the robe is down, you have to kind of get like down on the ground in order to pull his pants back up, like get up under his robe to pull his pants up. I'm going to say you don't have to roll for this because you're very, very close to his legs at this point. And you're going to see that there are bruises all over his legs.
Oh.
How do you respond? Knowing that the satyr didn't take any damage in your encounter because he got put to sleep really quickly, how do you respond?
I mean, you know, he was also trying to attack and kill my friends, so there is that. But I suppose I'd feel a little, sad about that. Maybe I could give him a little healing word to make the bruises go away.
Okay.
Great, let's cast healing word.
Okay.
So I'll reach down, and before I pull the pants up, I'm just going to gingerly go, just like in the general direction of the bruises on the legs, and some little like pink little musical notes will come emitting from Ruckus's mouth, and we'll heal him for 1d4 plus 3. I rolled a 6. Is 6 healing words enough to make his bruises go away?
It's not enough to make his bruises go away.
Holy crap! Serious bruises.
Well, I will tell you, above table, the satyr normally has 40 hit points, and he was down to 12.
Good job, everybody.
No, not good job, everybody. He took no damage in the fight.
Oh.
Then how was
Bad
he down
job,
to 12?
That's an
He's
excellent
clearly
question.
been coerced.
Interesting.
He looks at you and says,
Thank you. What did you do? It hurts a little bit less.
Ruckus. Many. Good.
Ruckus wags his tail a little bit.
I'd like to ask a question about
Yes.
the world.
Yes.
So Clarice knows a decent amount about dog folk from their role in the rebellion and things like that. How close to general knowledge would it be for this satyr, for example, to have just received healing? Would they be able to understand that something particularly unique has occurred?
I mean, the satyr is a wizard. So the satyr understands that there is magical healing.
But what I'm asking is, it's very unusual for a dog folk to be able to perform magic.
That is a very excellent point. I think that the satyr was born after the revolution. He's young. He, above table, this is like a 17-year-old kid. So he probably hasn't been exposed to dog folk, but he probably also, he probably doesn't know that magic is unusual for them.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. Great question.
Yeah.
So you said Ruckus's tail is wagging?
Yeah.
Ruckus. Good. Dogfolk.
Ooh.
Do an insight check for me.
21 with a natural 20.
So with a 21, nat 20, you said. Nat 20. So 21 total. As you wag your tail, you kind of cock your head to one side, and you take the measure of this satyr, and you notice that he's a pretty young kid. He's younger than, well, he's not younger than you in actual years because dog folks mature faster, but he is younger than you in terms of life experience. This is a teenager. And he looks really sad and a little scared. And he can also, from the way that his eyes are beginning to well up and his lip is quivering, you get the feeling that maybe it's the first kindness that he's been shown in quite some time.
Oh, great. Well, I'm glad there's, a little bit of a silver lining here. But I'm also, look down at my bark buttons, the 20 paltry bark buttons, sadly, and think, I don't have the vocabulary equipped to handle this kind of psychological distress. So I will knock gently on the main door behind me, where I know Andric is stationed, and I will say,
You! Come! Help! Question mark?
I look at Kilonian and Clarva, because I guess you've finished reading the note by this point, and I will open the bathroom door and, without going in, because you've told me there's not a lot of space in there, but kind of just pop my head in. Everything okay, Ruckus?
No.
And then I'll point down at the bruises that are slightly less bruised, but still bruised on the satyr's legs, and I'll say,
Look. No. Good.
Yes, I think we established that this one's no good.
Look.
And I'll point again at the bruises specifically.
Ruckus, roll me a performance check. Andric, roll me an insight check.
24.
6.
I think the disparity in your rolls, Ruckus, is so high that even with that 6, you start to take stock of what Ruckus is pointing at, and you see the bruises on his legs. But you don't notice that this satyr is looking scared and vulnerable.
Okay.
How do you respond when you see those bruises?
Did you just do that?
I'm going to point and say,
This. No. Ruckus. No. You.
I didn't rough him up like that.
No.
Now I would look up at the satyr's face. There's something you're not telling us.
Good. Good. Many. Good.
I'm gonna try something here. What's your name?
And he starts to give you that line that he's been giving you about how you don't need to know that. And as he opens his mouth and he kind of starts to lift himself up and get stronger, he then just immediately, his shoulders sloop. He says,
Can you keep me safe?
Your name?
If you can keep me safe, I will tell you anything that I can.
Ruckus smiles and says,
Ruckus. Help. Good.
and wags his tail.
What's my read? Is he playing us, or does he seem honest?
Roll me an insight check. And actually, I'm going to have you roll with advantage, because Ruckus has already figured out some of this stuff.
The better roll is a 19.
Okay, yeah. Well, with a 19, you start to notice the same things Ruckus had noticed. You see that this is a scared teenager. You see that his eyes are kind of welling up with tears, that his lip is quivering slightly. He looks scared and defeated.
All right, I'm going to try something here. I'm going to cast Minor Illusion. And from, in the bathroom, kind of right next to the satyr, since I heard it, I can replicate the sound of Malveaux's voice saying,
"You failed me."
To gauge his reaction.
I'm gonna...
Ruckus's ears droop and goes,
I'm going to have him roll an insight check to see if he can tell that that is you or if that is real. He rolled a 12, which I'm going to say is high enough to know that that is an illusion, but that doesn't mean he doesn't flinch when he hears the voice.
Yeah, I wasn't looking for him to have a total breakdown. I didn't want him to have a total breakdown.
We'll
do the best that we can.
Can we go back to sit somewhere more comfortable? I'll tell you my story.
Ruckus wags his tail.
Yes, many. Yes.
You look excited.
Can you pull my pants up first?
Well, I was trying to, and then there was this whole thing. Of course, yeah. Reach down, pull the pants up, tie them gingerly with the little drawstring.
I don't suppose you would consider unbinding me.
Already in action. If he tries to do anything, I'm gonna grapple it.
What do you think, Colonian?
Have you already let him out of the bathroom at this point? Or are you gonna holler at the door?
Well, I would step back. Like, there's not enough room. I would step back out of the doorway.
And Clarva is also in the room.
Yeah. Ooh, we could ask Clarva's opinion. Maybe they know what we should do.
But having looked in the bathroom, Clarva, I don't suppose there's any cleaning staff around here?
We'll have someone take care of it. Please close the door, though. It's beginning to smell in here.
Every 30 minutes, somebody comes in.
I'll step aside and allow Ruckus and the satyr to come back into the main room.
Okay.
Why don't you tell us a little of your story, and then we'll consider unbinding you.
That seems fair.
And the satyr is going to sit on the sofa and try to get into a comfortable position, even though his hands are still tied behind his back.
Ruckus will go sit next to him and put his paws underneath his bum in a comfortable position, hopefully showing that you can sit that way and it won't be terrible. And he'll say,
Look, Ruckus. Good. Question mark?
He gives you a very sad little smile and shifts his position a little bit to see if maybe sitting like you are helps. It does not.
I'll pat him on the shoulder.
He's a satyr. Your anatomy is completely different.
Tried my best.
He's going to look around the room.
Will you keep me safe?
We'll do our best.
Ruckus. Help! Big!
My name is Goff Dromior. My great-great-grandparents served the Malveaux family. My great-great-grandmother was his nanny. My family had been with the Malveaux for more than a century. But then after the oligarchy fell, my parents did not go into hiding like many of the Malveaux supporters. Instead, they decided to join the Corner Turning Project, which allowed certain individuals who were close to Malveaux to re-enter society if they could prove their worth. 17 years ago, when I was born, my parents were living a very normal life, and I had a very normal life. After a few years, my parents realized that I had a magical gift, and they tried to nurture that. They sent me to school. They gave me the best life that they could. And about 6 months ago, I came home from school and found my house ransacked. My parents were gone. I didn't know what to do. I waited up all night hoping that they would be back, and they didn't.
And you see that his eyes start to tear up even more. A single tear starts to roll down his cheek.
The next morning, a man came, and he said that he worked for Malveaux and that I had to come with him if I wanted to see my parents again. He said I was going to a new school, but it wasn't a school, it was a camp. And there were other young, powerful children of former Malveaux supporters there, only they were there voluntarily. Their parents had remained loyal to Malveaux even after the oligarchy fell. They said they were going to reform me and that they were going to teach me to use my magic for the betterment of our country.
Sounds like a fascist to me.
Every night, the others in my bunk beat me. They made me swear loyalty to Malveaux. You saw them. You saw how they treated me at your graduation. You know that I'm telling you the truth. I never want to go back there. I just want to find my parents and live a normal life. I will tell you anything that I know. Can you help me?
I think I need to do another insight check to see if I'm buying this or if this seems like a cover story.
I think you can roll it with advantage given your proximity to him.
13.
There are at least parts of his story that seem like they're the truth.
Well, listen, we'd like to help, certainly, but can't really do that if we don't know how to take action or where to go. Perhaps if there's something you could tell us about how we could put a stop to Malveaux's malicious machinations, then we could help out.
Ruckus nods and says,
Yes.
Ruckus, do you still have an action readied?
grapple if he tries anything, yeah.
All right. If I can see that Ruckus is in position to, like, react if necessary, I will take my belt back. I will unbind him.
I'll tell you anything that I can.
You! Dogfolk? Question mark?
I'll kick things off strong.
I assume that you are a dog folk, and that is why you are asking, but as you can see, we do not look anything like each other, so no, I am not a dog folk. I am a satyr.
Ruckus. Understand.
You're weird.
Question mark?
Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, just an observation.
Good.
You told us your beginning. Maybe let's try working backwards from the end. Where did you come to the stadium from?
Are you familiar with the Alcazar?
Am I?
I don't know. History check?
Yeah, history check with advantage, because you would have heard that word earlier in the day. Malveaux used it when he appeared.
24.
Yeah, so you remember that the Alcazar was Malveaux's summer home. It is in the woods just north of Shalamir. It's not that far, maybe by foot, half a day or less walking. It was kind of left to rot after Malveaux was deposed, but some kids like to go hang out there. There are rumors that it's haunted. It's still a very beautiful place, even in its state of disrepair. It's an old stone building. It predates the autocracy by a few centuries. It had been held by the royal family when there was a royal family, and then in the time between the end of the monarchy and the rise of the autocracy, it had been used as a school and as an asylum before Malveaux decided to have it converted to be his summer home. So you know all of this, and you also know that it is allegedly uninhabitable.
And who were you there with?
There are others.
How many?
Enough. I don't know their names. I don't know what they do. But if anybody wanted to try and negotiate, use diplomacy, plead for your lives, the people there are the people who might be able to help.
Clarva, could we perhaps trouble you for some parchment and a quill?
So we're going to leave you in the antechamber. I think that we need to go back into the legislative chambers and check in with Clarice. Yeah. So everybody was aware that you were in the room, but they were not aware that it was you in the room. They thought that it was just a staffer. They were very preoccupied, which is funny because there are at least 3 people in that room who actually know who you are. But nobody clocked you because Clarice is very sneaky.
And small. Thistle is going to look you up and down. I'm sorry, did you have something to say?
se01ep03. You wouldn't even have this job if it weren't for strategists.
I am very aware of that. Your mother is a brilliant strategist. She helped me get here. I don't understand the hostility.
I'm just saying, you told us nothing. You locked us in an antechamber, and you know that we could be helping right now.
Your kids?
With degrees.
Philomena's going to interject, say, well, technically, you didn't get your degrees because the graduation was, interrupted. But I can tell you, Thistle, that Clarice is amongst one of our most successful students. Very, very talented, very, very powerful. And it seems that you know her mother, so you know something that I don't know. Clarice, why don't you just go rejoin your friends?
I clearly have an idea. Don't you want to hear it? I heard everything you're saying, and you guys can't even come up with an idea, the beginnings of an idea. I love you, Gideon, but, like, come on. You don't even know what you're fighting. And, like, Fila, I'm with you. Yes, like, we don't know what's happening. We don't know if Malveaux's back, but, like, that is exactly why I walked over here to tell you that you need a strategist, and, like, none of you are qualified for this.
Roll an insight check.
I rolled an 18.
You notice that Gideon is being very quiet, and he's not making eye contact with you, which is unusual because this is a man that you think of as your uncle, and he's usually very warm toward you.
Uncle Gideon. Gideon! Okay, if you're not gonna talk to me, then I'm just gonna tell everybody. Uncle Gideon just wants to fight people.
It's not that at all.
Well, then what is it?
I should tell you that I've already reached out to your parents through the whisper tubes.
And?
They're safe. They're on their way back to Platysima. They have asked if you would join them, but they also know that you probably won't.
There's something more.
Insight check.
20 non-natural.
Gideon's going to hand you a small slip of paper. And it's the type of paper that is only used in the whisper tubes. The whisper tubes are what connect government buildings and certain other important sites in the network. They were installed after the Malveaux administration. They're basically like countrywide pneumatic tubes, if such a thing were possible. And they allow the fast transmission of important communique. They're very expensive. They're very difficult to install, so it's not like something that is in just like every household. But it's the way that news can travel faster than any animal, faster than any spell, and safer than any spell because the tubes are so deep underground and they're enchanted in such a way that if one tube was cut, the entire network would go down. So you know that nobody can be intercepting messages across the tubes because the tubes are still functioning. Do you look at the note?
I am going to glance at it to see if I recognize the handwriting.
I will tell you without rolling that it's your mother's handwriting. You saw her handwriting earlier today, so you're very confident in that.
Thank you. I will look at this when I have time, but I think you're missing the point.
I don't think I am. I'd recommend that you read that.
Why did you read it? Is it for me or for you? Were you reading my mail? Uncle Gideon, that is so creepy.
I know you know how this system works.
I'm just saying, is it for me?
Yes.
Fine. But like, okay, before I read this, I just would like the record to show that every single one of you here, yes, even you, Philomena, needs my family in order to make whatever you're trying to make work happen. Because none of you, and I do mean none of you, know how to broker a deal. You are all far too ambitious, okay? So, like, I'm gonna read this note, and I will be back.
So you're going to take the note. Roll me, before you start to read the note, roll me a history check. With advantage.
Good. Thank you for the advantage. It's a 23, but not a nut.
Okay. Because you're of your parents' position as political operatives, they frequently correspond in code.
Great.
And they taught you from a very young age what this code is. You've got, and they don't even use the same code all of the time, but you have ciphers. You've memorized a lot of their codices. And so you know that this letter, which on the surface says, "Dear Clarice, promise you were safe. Love you very much. Mom, you be safe too, okay?" what the note actually says.
Dear Clarice, there have been whispers about Malveaux being alive and amassing strength for some months now. Those in power have chosen to keep it a secret. I don't know why. It could be a conspiracy, or it could be an attempt at controlling a narrative. Could be something else entirely. Use your skills to see what you can learn. You are in a position of power here. We love you. Be careful who you trust. Mom.
Wow, they fit all that into the sentence.
No, it's not. It's like an acrostic poem.
It's a run.
I know what you're saying, yeah.
No spaces, 160 characters, yeah.
Having read this, Clarice is gonna spin on her heel again. So she had spun on her heel to read the note. Now that she's read it, she's gonna put it away. She's gonna come back. Excuse me.
Who are you talking to?
Literally all of you.
They just all look at you.
Yeah. So, here's what I'm gonna need. I'm gonna need you to let my friends out of the antechamber. I'm gonna need you to provide us with some resources. And I'm gonna need all of the intelligence that you have on the suspected uprisings, all the whispers, every single record that you've kept. Thistle, I'm going to need you to stay apart from the other Triarchs. I think that's nonsense that you called them over to join you. That is only going to help anybody who's trying to conspire against us. And Philomena, maybe just like take your professors and go work on the ice dome.
The energy dome.
Yeah. I actually know a little about it, so I can give you some information if you would like, since you clearly were ill-equipped.
You know she's right. And Gideon looks at everybody, and Thistle kind of rolls her eyes because they are opposing political parties and don't frequently agree on much. And Philomena takes a read on the tension that has just erupted, and she goes, all right, well, I think the first thing we should do is just go get your classmates. So, yeah. And she's just going to walk over and open the door. When she opens the door, she sees a crying satyr sitting on the sofa. She sees Andric, Colonian, and Ruckus standing around him, and Clarva Dasham is there as well. What she does not see is the fifth member of your party. And as she looks around, she kind of does the math in her head. And then she looks directly at you and says, wait, where is Belle?
And that's where we're going to leave off. Please join us in 2 weeks for the next episode of The Barbecue, where we'll be talking about the episode you just listened to. I've been your DM, Jillian Ashley Blair Ivy, and for all of us at Oops All Bards, so long and thank you for listening.
Oops All Bards is created, GM'd, and directed by Jillian Ashley Blair Ivy. This episode was produced, edited, and sound designed by Nate Runkle. Oops All Bards stars Ashley Banks as Belle Cernamiel, Ann Coleman as Clarice Sauercloud, Ross Curry as Andric Harrowhold, Chris Klinecki as Poochton Ruckus, Bob Killian as Kilonian Stumps, featuring Paige Klinecki as the voice of the Bark Buttons. The Oops All Bards theme song is by Bob Killian, with additional lyrics by Jillian Ashley Blair Ivy. Oops All Bards is executive produced by The Porch Room. We are part of the Porch Room Network on Spreaker Prime. For more information, visit oopsallbards.com. Thanks, and be sure to subscribe to Oops All Bards on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your podcatcher of choice. We'll see you next time.
How'll it go?
Well, we're sure you can guess.
Oops, it's all Bards!